Actually, probably similar personality styles. Kind of a lot like me, sarcastic, told a lot of stories.
It's definitely, there's a couple that are mostly kind of easygoing about it. Like the ones that I find myself not more accustomed to are the teachers that, you come into class and, hey, good morning, and then they do the lecture and you sit down and do your work because there's no like connection. But I have had history classes with teachers that I've just loved because they like talk to you about stuff and not just about the material. It kind of goes off on different subjects, but definitely the ones that interact with you more.
Totally got the kids involved.
I fought with my favorite teacher like crazy. His name was Mr. Mallory, and he was my 5th grade teacher. And he had all kinds of weird things in the room, like intestines and, fetus animals in jars. And he had cool games. He encouraged us, he challenged us all to chess. So there was a lot of chess in the room on free time, and there was Mancala and all these games that he collected all over the world. He always traveled on all his holidays and always brought back some interesting game or crazy story or myth. So.
And he was really engaging. I mean, he would talk to us like a regular person rather than just, he would engage us in whatever we were reading or discussing or talking about.
They'd have a lot of individual learning and a lot of group learning, and then so just kind of like handing out worksheets or just all working together as one big group, splitting off into itty bitty groups.
I think in order to be effective, I think you have to really be kind of thoughtful in your planning and think ahead what your end point goal is going to be. You can't just get up there as a teacher and kind of wing it.
Well, experience is one of the main things, and novelty, variety, and empathy. I think empathy is the first thing. I mean, you've got a captive audience. Your kids don't necessarily want to be there. So you just start right from there. Like, what if I had to get up and come here and I really didn't want to? How could the day be better?
I think if they know that, that you are in there with them and you're going to help them no matter what. So you know your stuff, you care about your students, you're willing to, I think, make adjustments, have that flexibility.
It's definitely, as a teacher, it's really hard, especially with big classes, to be able to interact with students individually, but if you're a teacher who can tackle something like that and be able to take time for each student and help them through something, it's definitely really good having that connection with a teacher instead of being afraid to ask or not really sure what to say.
Connecting with kids is maybe even more important than knowing your content area. I mean, you need to know your content area, but you need to be able to connect. I think an effective teacher is, somebody twofold. One, I think I'm not a great effective teacher. I don't think I'm the best, most effective teacher. I think I'm a very effective teacher with certain kids, and I think it's really challenging to be that one effective teacher to all kids and all learning styles and all personality types.
I think that we as teachers always kind of teach in the way that we most enjoyed. That's kind of the role, the modality that we take on.
And they think, this is how I was taught, so everybody must learn this way kind of thing.
But that is true, that I think we tend to kind of teach in the way we're comfortable. I even do that with my staff.
As a result of this research, teachers are either unfamiliar with learning style models and their potential to enhance the learning processes in the classroom, or are taken out of their comfort zone by experimenting with or utilizing learning styles other than their own preference. There are at least 6 major learning instruments that teachers can utilize to enhance student learning as long as they are aware of their potential and uses within the classroom.
And I'm sure most of us probably do more teaching in the way that we're comfortable. I think it's important to just recognize you are teaching some people in any given class. You're teaching people that learn in ways very different from what your natural tendency is. So I think it's just good to keep that in mind when you're planning lessons.
I mean, I think you just notice what works for different kids. You notice how kids get engaged or not engaged. I mean, you know a lot about your kids. I mean, you pay attention to them. I mean,
the more you can get to know your kids at the beginning of the year, just figuring out what their best learning strengths are.
Tell me about you as a student. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Do you know what your learning style is, or what are your favorite types of activities to do in class? And so, if they are aware of it already, then that's helpful too.
Well, as an English teacher, I always start out the year by doing a variety of assessments to try to figure out what different kids are good at. And it's, it becomes pretty evident who's kinesthetic because they can't sit still. And it becomes very, very obvious about those who are listeners and those who are, want to be more hands-on. And you just kind of have to be a good observer. Part of being a good teacher is being a good watcher and a good listener, and I think you pick up on those cues. I don't think it's anything specific that they say. I've done, learning styles quizzes and all different kinds of things through the years, but really, I think it's just paying attention. And anytime I have a class, I try to do a variety of things that hit all of the different areas. So if I'm going to do a project or if I'm going to do an activity, I try to make sure that it hits, all of those different things so that people can read, write, think. They have to be able to do all of those things in a variety of ways and change it up every day so that you're not doing the same thing twice. And from being in class with me that there's music and there's hands-on projects and there's all kinds of things you can do. I think you learn more that way when you're doing or making something.
Offer them options and opportunities if they can do it in a way that more fits their learning strength. Because we definitely all have strengths and weaker learning styles.
The sentence itself is written in such a way that it's talking about an ant colony and how the ant colony sort of like packs into this small space and they all contribute to what's going on in the ant colony. And my readers will read it and go, oh, absolutely, this is a sentence structure that's involved. You need that sentence structure because blah, 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 blah. And then I make the kids actually stand up and become the words of the sentence, and I pack them into a corner. And the kinesthetic learners are going, hey, we're ants in the colony, and they're learning that they get the physical effect of it. My readers will go, this is stupid. Why don't we just read it? Yeah. But it's so cool because it's not my learning style. And when they get it, I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
What am I going to do for the kid who really needs a visual example? What about the kid that is not going to learn much of this unless they touch it and move it and manipulate it? The more you can do that as a teacher, the more people ultimately you're going to reach.
To say, oh, I'm going to think of it this way. And that's your job, is to help them. If they can't get it this way, okay, how about if we do it this way? That's, and then you're really helping them kind of, there's a joy in finding your own way, in figuring it out on your, with assistance, but on your own, you get that light bulb moment, and that's just really, that's a rush.
What advice would you have for a new teacher?
Be flexible. Like, if you're doing something and it doesn't turn out the way that it's planned, just kind of go with it. Maybe figure out something that, since it's not going in the direction that you want it to, maybe there's something that in that direction that is very helpful and you can figure out.
I guess, like, get to know the kids. Like, that's a very important thing. Like, know all your students so you can know how they work best.
I think that generally new teachers act like, not like kids, but like really fun and stuff like that. And kids like in high school usually get away with a lot more with them, because they don't want to, I feel like they're afraid of kids not liking them at first. And
Someone that can actually talk to you and understand and won't, like, if you ask them to teach a certain way, they won't just take it into consideration or whatever. They'll actually do something or try to do something about it.
Run away. I don't know if this is good advice or not, but try to learn along with them. You don't have to know everything, and it's okay to just go, you know what? Let's try this. This is not working. Let's go here. Or, stop what you're doing and redirect, or just don't be afraid to scrap it and start over and go, yeah, even I was bored by that.